boys and girls, it's time to nerd fight!
Step into the ring, it's time to brawl. Nerd fights, baby, we're geeking for all.
Oh, hey. Sorry, looks like I started the show early. No, it wasn't that. I hit the button by accident. But welcome to Nerd Fights, everybody. So tonight Salty will be literally on any second now. And what we do every single Friday, we talk about the different things that have happened in the world of geek culture. Specifically tonight, we're going to be talking about Alien Earth. We're going to be talking about Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, of course. And we're also going to be talking about Peacemaker, though I think I'm probably the one who's more interested in that than anybody else. What's going on, Donna? How are you? I know she's Louise, Stan. You don't waste any time. Gotta go all the way back to the top here to see what she. So why the hell in Metron such extraordinary interest in relationship between Gorns and humans? Yeah, that's a question I've got too. Again, because if you've seen my review of the episode myself on my own channel, Mr. Know It All, I don't know, man. It was weird. It was weird for me. In Arena, it wasn't just sort of random occurrence and they intervened because the skirmishes happened to occur. And yes, it was. And so, but apparently not anymore. Now the universe is very small. And as a result, we now get all this fun to call, yay, everything going on there. So, yeah, no, it's great. Let's see. What is this mixture? It's fine. The Arena was just, okay, cool. Asked me, did you ask the question twice? Guess it was just hand waved so they could claim not to be breaking canon. Oh, totally. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no, for sure. Which I guess would hurt viewership. Probably. I don't know. Are they on the I gotta check the streaming charts, if you will, to see if they're on there. Would less people watch if this wasn't a direct prequel to the original series? I don't know if less people would watch. I know that I don't know that I'm watching because it's a prequel, because I've always hated prequels. I really have. I always hated prequels. That's why I didn't like Enterprise. I thought Enterprise was superfluous. I don't really care how we got here. I want to keep going forward. I have, however, been sucked into what Strange New Worlds was trying to do. I personally think, and I'll say this more when Salty's on the show, that it's I think it's more of a sophomore slump situation myself. But that's just me. Was Peacemaker any good? Haven't watched it yet, but not too worried about spoilers. I thought it was good. This was the episode of Peacemaker that I sort of expected to eventually come, which is, here's everything wonderful about the other side. I'm waiting for them to drop the other shoe that, like, the reason his father and brother aren't blatantly racist is because this is literally an entire world where that kind of thinking took place, like took hold, and I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. And it's not just that everything is good in this universe, but I feel like there's more to that story that's going on with them for sure. Hey, what's up, Phoenix? I'm trying to catch up on all the comments with you guys. They can't say it's just another timeline. I assume you're talking about Strange New Worlds again, Stan, of course. They have decided to handwave everything that might affect canon. So it's funny you say that. And the truth is, I actually agree with you. I've actually recently said that I feel like when they first, I said this in my review, when they first were like, okay, listen, hear me out, the Gorn. Okay, I feel like when they first said that, nobody was thinking in any way, shape, or form, oh, well, how are we going to, one day we're going to have to, but they're like, we're writers, we'll write it, whatever. I feel like that's how this has all has gone down to this point. Was Peacemaker any good, Stan? Yes, I think it was good. Sorry. Again, I'm real behind catching up on all your comments. The Trek reviewer, have they given a release for Strange New World season 4 or Academy season 1 yet? I haven't seen it, but I'm sure someone's going to talk about it. Gavin Blackburn, Strange New World is devoid of originality in its originality black hole. It's an originality black hole. I would beg to differ and argue that all of Star Trek on some level is an originality black hole. I think the original series was about as original as it got, and after that, and the beginning, I think Next Gen was, until Next Gen sort of figured out what its particular brand or flavor of formula was, and then ultimately continued forward in that light, in that vein, if you will. Phoenix says also apparently Metrons implied they genetically rewrote the Gorn to their mini Godzilla appearance. I didn't take that from that. I actually took that. See, part of me was like, is he affecting their personal memories? Or is it just her, or was it like humanity in general? That's been my question mark to this point. Penny says, y'all like this episode except when they killed the Gorn on Strange New Worlds. It's like they made us care for him, Penny. How could they do it? No, it's literally, dude. This is literally the plot of Enemy Mine all day. The Dennis Quaid movie from the late 70s, early 80s. I think it's like, it might even be like early 83 or something, but whatever. And the minute I saw this, I was like, oh well, that's that all day, every day. That's exactly what that is. And then what else? Let me see. Hold on. Let me actually do this. There we go. All right. So let's see. They have, because they're side one. I can accept this Gorn puppet is just an update of the one Kirk fought. Fair. Kind of just the same way the ship is the font that it is there right now. I get it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I love that. Although expecting David Bowie to show up at the end. I get that. I get that reference. Good job. Yeah, I could, I'm with you to a point, to an extent. I'm with you there. And then they Spike. They did my girl Gorney wrong. That's right. No, Gorney goes. I love the fact. So, and it's funny. I even said. I think I said to either Mrs. Know It All, or I said to I said to Gonzo, who's been on the show before. I was like, it's. Why did they both have to be female? Was it so there would be no weird interspecies tension? Or because you have to make it Enemy Mine, you have to literally make it the thing. I get it. But yeah, totally, Spike. Gorney Weaver. I was right there with you. I was 100% with you there. I was like, Gorney Weaver. Oh my God. No, my issue, it did look a bit Dark Crystal Labyrinthy. You have expected to be like, I understand you, yes. Yeah, whatever. Like very Sleestack, trying to avoid that. Phoenix says, I would find it hilarious if the Tawny Newsome show, either Mariner sees how the Gorn looked in the 33rd century, or the Metron psychic illusion is broken and everyone sees them as the Xenos they are. That would be hilarious. I don't know. So really, you think it's a Metron like mind F? Okay. I honestly had not thought about that in any way, shape, or form. And then it says, just to show that the females of all species can be awesome pilots. Yes, Stan. It's 100% correct. I believe that is exactly how that went down. And if it's not how that went down, it's getting blamed for it. So we're in. We're in completely. That's right, Sig Gordy Weaver. Good job. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. So was I. Stan, I was expecting the Gorn to be pregnant or something. So I was too. I was very, very much also. And yeah, no, for sure. The 100%. I feel like there's a universe in which, in that particular writer's room, they're telling the whole story. And then one of them's like, and guess what? It's a female Gorn. And everyone's like, oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. And my thing is, when I was in a writer's room, when my wife and I, we had a production company, and we had a writer's room, and we had 6 full-time writers. And when we would round the room, never once did the phrase, oh, and so these 2 female characters, it was always, hey, here's a story, and here's the character, blah, 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 and we would just kind of kick back and forth. But at no point was I ever like, oh, and by the way, and I feel like that was not the case in this writer's room. That's just me. Phoenix says it still stands. Ortega still can fly any ship. Good. Very true. Gavin Blackburn says, Enemy Mine had enemies learning to get along. This episode, Ortegas and the Gorn just befriended each other instantly. I honestly thought the Gorn was friendly to Ortegas so she could eat her. Yeah, oh my God. Can you get out of my head? The whole time I'm like, oh, she's going to fall asleep and dude's going to try to, yeah, it's going to be terrible. The whole time I was thinking it was going to be something along those lines. So it's really funny you said that. And yeah, I kept being like, wait a minute. So Ortegas' trauma was only surface deep? Because if you remember Enemy Mine, they work out some stuff. And you don't see anything that strong in this. And so I just remember very clearly that Enemy Mine was like, okay, like you understood both sides and where the confusion has come from. Yeah, so that's crazy. And then Phoenix says they do get married like a Gorn minister and everything. I hate you, Phoenix. That's right. Guy comes out looking like the Beetlejuice guy. Do you claim? Sorry. That's awesome. And then Stan, right, unless there was a reason for them to both be female. Agreed. No, I do agree with that. Penny says they could braid each other's hair. That's if they had hair. Totally. Oh my God. I love that so much. Spike, I was worried Ortegas was going to eat Gordy. I don't trust her. Oh my God. You're worried. Like you just hard cut and you see Ortegas holding a leg like, hey man, survival of we gotta survive somehow. Tastes like chicken. Just looks up. She looks up, breaks the fourth wall. Tastes like chicken. And she'd be like, dang. That's awesome. That is so hardcore. I love that. Spike, I genuinely, you have a special place in my heart right now. Stan, but this story would have worked even if they didn't know each other's gender. Yes. And that's 100% my point. Having you want to add an extra bit of tragedy over this thing, a little bit of, as they say, pathos. Have her not know, and then have it come out at the very end. Have Chapel tell Ortegas, thus adding an extra layer of like, to the whole thing. That would have made it better. I could have lived with it then, because at that point, it's a function of the storytelling. And it serves that, to me, instant win. Totally down. Corn McRibs. I hate you all so much. That's awesome. Stan says that Spike would have been a better way to get over her PTSD, for real. Stanley, eat your enemy. Oh my God. And thank you. Yes. Also, yes, that would have been, anything to make it make more sense. Daniel, that's a great question. I don't want you thinking anything weird. There he is. Okay, everybody, here he is. Literally, they were just starting to turn on me. They're like, where is Salty? What's going on here? Have you commandeered the channel? They were going to go off, man. I swear to God, they were.
Has he kicked the bucket? Really?
They're like, what's going on? But yes. So, okay, real quick, let me give you an update. I don't know how much you caught of that.
No, nothing.
Okay, so we've been talking about the episode of Star Trek, obviously. The one issue that kind of Stan and I latched onto that actually makes a lot of sense is the need for them to have said it was a female Gorn. Served no genuine purpose in the story other than to give us dual girl power. Now, here's how you do it, and it works, is what I just got finished telling them. You have that be such an incidental thing that at the very end during the autopsy, have Chapel be the one to tell them. Now you add an extra bit of pathos, a little bit of more misery to that moment. But up until that point, it did not matter. Until that point, it would serve the story better.
What I think would have given it even more.
Don't be a jerk. I'm being serious right now.
No. I'm being serious. I think that would have made the ending even more like hit Ortegas harder.
Sure.
And which they already hit her pretty good in this episode. But would be, imagine if that Gorn was not only female but very fertile, and she had eggs in her spit sack ready to go. Could have killed her at any moment with that.
Somebody said they were. It's funny. I've heard both sides, by the way. Yeah. Someone said that they thought the Gorn was going to eat Ortegas, and then Spike comes in with, whatever, man. We're worried Ortegas was going to eat the Gorn. I was like, yeah, totally. Ortegas just cold cut to Ortegas eating a leg. Like, hey, man, survival of the fittest. It tastes like chicken.
But here's the thing, though. You created a word. Well, you didn't create the word, but you said a word today when we talked that made me think of something totally not Trek related, even though it's totally Trek.
What?
Okay, so we're going to do a little improv theater for everybody. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, so the scene is an Italian restaurant. I am the patron sitting at my table, and you are about to take my order and go.
Sir, welcome to the restaurant. What would you like to have tonight?
Well, I think we'll start with the, let's go with the Tuvix Patel.
For real. What's up with that, man?
Does that not sound like an Italian dish?
Totally. Oh my God, the Tuvix Patel, yeah, dude. Well, because I had said that, like, I was like, how are we getting this, her making up with before the whole thing? Do the accent. Gorn on a stick is a great state food fair in Minnesota, according to Creep.
You know,
Yeah, what the heck is the Gorn afraid of fire thing? Good job. Good call, Stan.
actually, no. I'll say this. No, like they didn't dig into it. Obviously, it was just a weird throwaway thing, right? But Gorns are reptilian. They are therefore cold blooded, and so an external heat source would not be good for them.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. You're
And
right.
so my thought was, and in fact, like a lot of
Bro. Stan, I thought Ortega's acting was a bit weak. So for me, I said the same thing. By the way, I do not think that's always the case. If you look back to when remember Pike's episode where you find out Spock is related to when they did their version of that episode at the end of season 1's finale, Ortegas is questioning orders and being real real dickish, but like it was believable. Like there was, I get so she's capable. The actress is capable of acting very, very well. And
the weird thing is, so she wasn't even playing. She was technically not playing Ortegas.
Agreed.
She was playing not Styles, because Styles is the officer from the original Bounce of Terror. That's the racist.
You're right.
So she was just not Styles. And the thing that I didn't like about that was that she was even using some of the same lines that Styles used. And it's like, I understand why Spock might say some of the same things, in other characters, but not Ortegas when she wasn't there.
Well, I mean, ideas. No, I get what you're saying.
Right.
I get what you're saying.
But back to this episode, because if we look at Ortegas's arc, it's kind of funny because they did a callback in just a couple episodes ago where she said, "I fly the ship," But if you look at her in season 1, that was her whole character in season 1. She was, spunky little Mexican girl with a funny haircut that flies the ship. That's all we really knew. Here we're getting some
spunky little. That's great. No, it's good.
Here, though, we have some actual character building for her for the first time. I think we did some serious.
Oh my god, I thought the same thing too. Were they intentionally doing the Martian gag at the beginning? Stan, we should watch this thing together sometime. You and me, Stan.
Which
we vibe. That very beginning when she first makes water out of the thing, and like they sit on that scene a while.
They do,
and then she jumps around all happy and excited. And I'm like, you're in Starfleet. This is like you should have done this right.
She's not.
Like, you should be more surprised if it doesn't do it right.
Yeah, but the stupid thing about that was that they're trying to make it like what I just said. She's not an engineer, and so her making the water condenser was like a big deal, right? However,
I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. However, later in the same episode, she flips a couple of widgets upside down and turns a tricorder into a universal translator. So.
Well, there's Starfleet ingenuity that's like for survival, which makes sense because if you think of the technology you have, your survival skills would be a little different than they would be normally. Yeah. But not to that extremity where suddenly she's rewiring technology to make it do something it wasn't intended to do.
Right.
Even a little bit. And that was their way of, well, it can only go yes, no. Like that's the writer's room exception, like to the MacGuffin or the phlebotinum they build out of this thing.
Right.
You're like, really?
Yeah. And
La'an was not merciful.
No. La'an just shot that Gorn dead. Which...
I figured they were explaining survival necessities to the dim audience. That's funny, Stan. No, remember, if it was that way, it would have been the writer explaining because the writer's like, I didn't know this about survival. Did you? And suddenly they're like, let's tell everybody else
every day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, someone sitting here was going. Somebody in the look was like, how much water do you actually need? And like, you know what I mean? And someone's like, just Google it. What are you talking about?
If you are deprived water for 3 days, you will die. It's pretty important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, most of us get our water intake.
Oh my God, Karen. Karen's so calling it out. How they show the motorcycle in her quarters to show she can work on machines. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. It's like everyone's like, but it's show not tell. I'm like, no, baby, that's telling. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. When her bed is right next to the actual physical motorcycle she's building. I'm sorry, the ancient Earth motorcycle she's building.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Um, so yeah, Thomas.
I love that.
Too
Too
bad you
bad
didn't
she
make the
didn't
Pike chair.
say agree or disagree instead of beeping. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, man.
I thought that what I was having total vibes of with the agree disagree thing was when oh gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of that stupid thing. Grogu in Mandalorian was basically piloting the robot, and remember
Oh yeah.
it could say yes and no, and and Grogu would be like yes 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 yes, tapping on the button.
Yeah, man.
So I also thought one thing that I liked, and this is something
Real quick, Stan brings up a good point about the downright insubordination. What do you think about that part?
which part?
The fact that Uhura falsified facts, even though Pike was like, "I would do it anyway."
Yeah, that was a bit much. He should have at least given her a reprimand for it. And it would have been one of those things where you should never ever falsify orders to or falsify information to your captain, and then and here's your official reprimand, and then and your punishment is going to be that we have a surprise party for you or something.
I hate you so
be,
much. And literally, it's a type of reptilian creature that's not humanoid, but like it's like a delicacy, and they're like, "Oh, too soon." My bad.
So that would be great. Yeah, we got you some fried iguana. It's like, what? We heard you loved it.
Krieg says they stole the idea from Babylon 5, rebuilding an ancient motorcycle. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's something that's been done in a while, but
does that mean they stole it from Babylon 5 when Kirk did it in Star Trek Beyond? I mean,
oh my God, Stan Lee says foreshadowing Pike eventually only being able to answer yes or no.
What to bring?
Dun dun dun! I can totally see that.
Stupid dog. Yes, I tried to get you earlier.
Yes, Stan. Kirk absolutely had a bike on the ship and beyond. You're absolutely correct. JJ Pike is more strict than Strange New Worlds Pike. So funny. Yeah, absolutely. This Pike is very different than the Pike from Discovery. Like Discovery Pike was a very different character.
What's his name? Greenwood? Is that?
No. I'm not that one. I'm talking about. Maybe that's who they meant. JJ. You could mean them.
The JJ Abrams Pike was.
You're right. Gosh. I keep thinking of Discovery season 1 or season 2 or 3 Pike, whatever.
That was
he's a different character. Also, I know, but he's a different character. The way that his characterization works, he's a little. I believe he was a slightly different character. The way who's portrayed. I think he's evolved into the character we know now. He wasn't this character before. And La'an's definitely trigger happy. Absolutely, Gavin was right.
See, I think Uhura and La'an both need to be reprimanded this episode.
Oh my God, so much.
Because and Creep is about to get banned for life.
Why you don't love that Beyond Star Trek Beyond? Greatest movie of all time.
If you were to give the Star Trek franchise an enema, you would stick the hose in Star Trek Beyond.
Wow. So you're saying there's a way in?
There's a way in.
No, for sure. This is going to be.
You don't like what comes out.
The thing is, I like elements from that movie. I love ideas in that movie. But you're right. At the end of the day, it was executed poorly.
Well,
mainly because it all started with the casting, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think having Benedict Cumberbatch be a character and then trying to sell us
that's not Star Trek Beyond. That's Star Trek Into Darkness.
You're right. Beyond was the one with the motorcycle and the rock chair and all the other and the rock and roll music and the alien and Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Yes. So you just got to show you how
Balthazar. Who you make a Captain Balthazar and you're just begging for him to turn evil.
That's hilarious. And because that's the writers feeling like they're being ironic. It's like, remember how the old series used to use Shakespeare and stuff? Well, this is what we're doing. And you're like, it's not. Try again.
And so, as far as what Trek reviewers are saying, I was hoping that this episode was going to be Ortega's big out.
Bro, I'm like, they sure as heck are telegraphing that, aren't they?
Like I was half expecting, and I didn't think they had the balls to do it, and they didn't. But I was half expecting, like when the landing party beamed in, to have La'an go a Gorn, and then have Ortega's jump in front and take the shot.
See, but even okay, yes, it's funny. I feel like that would have been telegraphed as well, but I also feel like I would have accepted that better.
Yeah, that's what I said. That would have been better than what they did.
What they did felt like the most scapegoaty, aside from the fact, and someone else said this earlier in the chat before you got here. Man, they like became friends lickety split quick. Like, there was no thought whatsoever about, like in Enemy Mine, they spend time.
Yes,
and,
but Enemy
like,
Mine was also a feature-length film. This was not.
Whatever, man. If you're going to tackle this story, you better find a way to in and out. That makes sense.
I will say this: I think the Gorn, because the whole thing was the Gorn had already decided that because remember the Gorn was mortally wounded, and already knew the planetary system problem, and so the Gorn had already decided, I don't care if it's a human, we need to get out of here.
So when we were talking, I was saved this on purpose till you got back. I wanted to say, I feel like there's a universe in which you do a variation of this theme, this story, and in the version that you do, you get to that you make it psychological, because you have to. Here's the thing. Yes, you have all these tropey situations, but all writing is essentially tropey. And how do you approach the scene? Mm-hmm. So you approach the scene. I think you do everything with the way, but the slight difference is you either make it a Metron experiment or something. But at the end of the day, go ahead.
You solved the riddle. You didn't mean to, but you solved the riddle. Here's how you write the ending for this episode. So La'an draws her weapon and starts to pull the trigger. Ortegas jumps to take the shot. Just as the bolt is about to kill Ortegas, that's when time freezes. And then the Metron, analyzing the circumstances, and is surprised, just like they were with Kirk, that she was trying to save her mortal enemy, right? And so the Metron then gives her the choice of whether she dies or the Gorn. And so now Ortegas has to make that choice. You spend a couple of minutes on this. You can cut out some of the stuff from earlier. You spend a couple of minutes on this whole thing with Ortegas having the moral dilemma of basically having to choose whether for her known enemy, but actually someone that helped her out to die, and she's killed plenty of Gorn in the war. Well, she's killed Klingons, but it's not like killing is like something Ortegas can't do. And versus take the shot herself. And there, I think you get a more interesting use of the Metron's interference.
So my thought was that what you do is you have, regardless of the Metron's role, the point is you have something dilate time. So she has to make it Castaway Star Trek edition, but what you do is you do functionally everything you show that you did, except when La'an comes through, she does jump in the way. Remember, we still think it's going on the way it's going to happen, but it doesn't. But there's nothing there. They're like, "What are you talking about?" And you find it's just an old shelter. Maybe there's the body or skeleton of potentially a Gorn or something. But you show that she had basically hallucinated another person, and based on what was here, her mind made it a Gorn and helped her work through her trauma, because that's the most recent thing that she'd been dealing with. Right. It latched on to something that would. I feel like at that point, now you make it a psychological thing, and you can even have that moment where you show those classic, like the clips of from the episode, same scenes, but there's no person there. So like she's yelling at nobody, and you know what I mean? And she was stealing the battery from nobody.
It was Sixth Sense kind of thing.
Kind of, but it could be, or not even nobody. Maybe it was the skeleton, the same scene where she reaches over to grab the transmitter. She's reaching over a dead body or a skeleton, desiccated body of something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like there's a world in which you make this interesting, and they didn't go that extra step, and that took very little for me. And I'm sure you could come up with a million and one thing. Heck, I'm sure our chat could come up with a million.
I like
and one
my idea
things.
with the Metron giving her the
No,
life
absolutely. That my same 100%. I'm saying anything to make this feel more cohesive than it felt.
Right.
You know,
I
the return of Starbuck did it best. That's true. It's great. But the Science is one of the Picard beings trapped in a shuttlecraft with Wesley for like 20 hours. Yes.
That would 100%. Be, see, what would be great
be awesome.
is, you know, the ultimate punishment needs to be for somebody to be taken away into a time-space paradox realm with, you know, Wesley Crawford the Traveler.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be
and have to see
worse than hell. I'm just saying, I'll, like, you know,
that's hilarious.
I'll talk. I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Anything, just tell me. Yeah, don't put me through that again, please. Oh my God! All right.
No, okay, so I actually liked the episode. Yes, the plot was a direct ripoff of Enemy Mine. There's no denying that. But this is like what, the third or fourth Star Trek episode that it's done now.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, oh, if you're going to send it for that, then you got to do the same thing to Darmok and whatever the name of the one with Geordi and the Romulan is and all that. So all those episodes do that as well. I liked the extra alien aspect of the Gorn here because
yes, by the way, it is the lowest. It is the lowest I've given.
Wow, you give it a 5 out of 10?
No, that was last week's. I gave as a critic, and then I also gave it a second. This one I didn't give. This one I gave a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Because again, it's functionally the episode happens functionally. Right. Aside from, I think, her acting being the episode being more than I think she can carry on her own shoulders by herself, I have no real complaints performatively speaking. It really just has to do with the fact that this is a very recycled storyline. I could see everything coming, every twist and turn coming from a mile away. And unlike last week that had a lot of fun bits to make me forget the things that upset me, this didn't. This just kept piling on stuff that I knew and stuff that, like, to the point that I was almost like, and this is the part where this happens, and that's the part. It's just one thing after another, and I was like, man, that sucks. So, especially because it feeds into a lot of the stuff that some folks that I don't agree with all the time have been saying, and just because this is the one thing that'll probably prove their point, I don't think the whole thing is bad.
Right.
You know. So, what are you gonna do?
Creep.
He says, the Phoenix says, either way, the Betrons now either physically transformed or through psychic manipulation have convinced the galaxy the Gorn are mini Godzillas. I don't see, and I didn't get that. What did you think? Do you think that's what what did that mean?
They didn't change the physical appearance of Gorn. That's just artistic difference. That same thing, like, hey, this Enterprise, like it or not, is the same ship that Kirk is going to command in the future. It's just a different artistic vision of the same thing. Just like, so you can see two different directors direct the same movie, and it's totally different, even though it's the same story. So no, as far as the Gorn looking different than the Gorn from, I mean, do you really want a guy in a giant paper mache suit? Is that what you guys really want? Because that's what it seems like you really want.
I think, dude, we've seen cool looking lizard, like the Gorn is why we get the awesome looking lizard people we get in Galaxy Quest. Mm-hmm. It's why you had some really interesting reptilian looking people in Enterprise even. So I feel like the Xindi or whatever. I feel like there's a world in which you can take that original aesthetic and update it the same way you updated the bridge, and they don't have to look like xenomorphs running around with long elongated necks and the whole bit.
I'm not opposed. If you look at the Gorn, what's interesting is that now this Gorn did look different than the other Gorns we've seen, which is interesting because it looked withered.
Mild, yes,
and,
for sure.
You know, it looked sickly, basically, for a Gorn. And so, but this is also the first time we've seen a Gorn really interact with a person other than trying to kill them.
Agreed.
And so I think some of that might have thrown you off a bit. But if you look at the facial features of the puppet faces that they worked with the Gorn, and then you look at the facial features of the classic paper mache Gorn, you'll see that they translated almost everything into it. It's just that they gave it a more realistic shape. You know?
So Stan says, but like I said earlier, I just expected David Bowie to show up at the end instead of Metron.
That would have been really funny if he wasn't dead. In fact, I would cast David Bowie as a Metron.
I do love the fact. I do no totally. I do love the fact that he's right. At least they didn't try to do CGI. I agree. I do love the fact that when it came to the Metron, they pretty much stuck to it faded in. It wasn't a huge grandiose entrance, a little bit glowing, whatever. But they didn't go crazy. The voice was a basic kind of echoey, reverby thing. The only thing I thought was funny was apparently. I don't know. They've gone real
very into LGBTQIA.
Yeah, Metrons are that the M. That's the M we're adding.
Yeah, that's
plus M and Metron. So because literally
LGBTQIA.
Because they were super. They were. It was a very. I was like, oh, and I'm talking like to the point that like, look, you're just not going to understand. You're just not ready to encounter one. It's just not good right now. You're like, bro,
no. Oh my god, but there's that one guy, Kirk. Oh, he's a hunk. Maybe when he comes out, we'll talk to him. Yeah. So
ABJ said, I watched Strange New World season 3, episode 1. Never saw any previous episodes. It was great. Then I watched episodes 2 and 3, and I was disappointed. Okay, I'll go with you.
Well, you know what, ABJ. First of all, don't start with season 3, episode 1. You watch the whole show.
That's right, because this is a show you need to do homework for. Wait, what?
No, but I'm saying it's a show that's worth watching. I think so far, it
is worth watching. I just don't know if
the best new Trek made. I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't know if you can argue that. Although my father's got a few words to say about it, and I fully intend he's going to watch. He hasn't seen this episode yet. He's watching this episode tomorrow. He said he's gonna call me.
No,
I told him he has to FaceTime me.
Here's what you need.
Because I'm going to record his reaction.
Well, now, doesn't he live there with you or no?
No, their father-in-law. Talking about my actual, I'm talking about Mr. Know-It-All Senior.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen Mr. Know-It-All Senior, but does he look like you, only older and
in no way, shape, or form? He does not.
Too bad. I think I'm just picturing like an old withered version of you. That would be hilarious.
That's hilarious. I'm a withered version of me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I got to get this But I think what you should do is get him in a setup like this, except that he's looking at a TV, and just
so he's got to watch it with me.
Yeah, and let's live.
Look, he's getting demonetized, but I want y'all to see his reaction.
No, well, you don't have to get it. It won't get demonetized as long, like if he has headphones for the TV. And then he just, I don't know if your dad's a cusser, but if he is, I'm sure he'll. You might get demonetized for that.
For real. I'd be like, man, I can't believe it. I'm like, oh, Lord,
Creep says your dad is a little Asian dude.
I can totally see that. Yeah. I missed your last week. Did you like 4.5 Vulcans a lot? Even diehard Kurtzman Trek fans hated it. No, nobody liked that episode a lot. I enjoyed the episode. There's fun parts in it. But there are other things that I absolutely couldn't stand that really gave me a hard time, gave me agita about it. But the more I got into it, the more like I would get past something and then be like, oh, I'm having fun. And then something else would upset me. So it was a weird up and down for me.
Here's the thing, Thomas, and this is just the bottom line on this, is that Nerdrotic has been secretly committing acts of fellatio on Mr. Know-It-All. And that's why he's starting to turn towards the
No. I'm just noticing things. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I still look, I'm still here for it. I'm not hate watching it either. I'm watching every episode going, please be good. Listen, every show has a sophomore slump. It just felt a little more acutely when you can't hide it in 20 episodes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because at least in 20 episodes, and you have a sophomore slump, you can at least go, well, this was good, this was better, this was not so great. This is like, dude, this is 3 episodes in a row that I've been had, and it's sort of been mounting my frustration with this season.
And I think it was me that said that Anson Mount was being Marvin the Martian. I fully admit the problems with that episode. And Anson Mount was the outstanding problem of that episode, which I hate to say because he's the most professional of the crew. But for some reason, he's like the only one that didn't take his homework seriously.
Well, because he sounded more like a conehead.
Right. I was expecting him to go, we are from France. but the what's trying to remember who it was. Who were the Vulcans besides Spock? I mean, there was
No, that was him. That was him, not me. That was Salty.
La'an, Captain Pike, Nurse Chapel,
Uhura, and Nurse Chapel.
Uhura. That's right. So I forget her name, but the girl that played
TNG
Uhura.
sophomore slump was season 1.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And season 2, and half of season 3.
I don't know. I thought season 3 is when it actually came out gunning pretty decent.
I thought season 3 was better than season 2, but season 2. You see, the funny thing about season 2 is that it's hard to see that as bad as season 1 because it had a real doctor.
That's true.
Yeah,
Very true.
Dr. Polanski came across to me as a doctor.
Good. Czech reviewer said Kurtzman has had Star Trek in a sophomore slump since 17.
Wow. Well, it's
I don't know,
2009. I'm sorry. Kurtzman, people forget Kurtzman was, one of the writers of Star Trek 2009. Kurtzman and Orsi wrote those first 2 Star Trek films.
Yeah, back when they were writing partners.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think this season is bad. I think this is a good season of Strange New Worlds. I still think season 1 so far is playing up as the best season overall. Season 2, I think, had probably what I think is probably the best episode of the series so far, which would be Tomorrow.
Sure.
And that was a great episode. Very little special effects or any of that. It wasn't a fancy, flashy episode, but it was really good. And then, but they also went in some weird directions in season 2. I know the musical was very divisive. The more I watch it, the more I like it. But that's just because I appreciate the musical theater aspect of it. But I understand why people get annoyed with that episode because it doesn't feel very Trek. But this season, I think, is kind of in between. It's not hitting the super highs like you did with Tomorrow. Really,
right?
Its highs are good, but they're not, wow,
earth-shattering.
I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life. Kind of good.
It's fair.
But it also hasn't had anything that was a real stinker yet. There were no episode. As much as I defend the musical episode, nobody's reacting like they did to the musical episode to anything this season.
Oh, wait till next season, though.
Why? What's next season?
The puppet one. There's a puppet episode coming.
I don't think they're going to seriously do a puppet.
Full blown, baby. I bet you there is, and I bet you it's going to be some kind of weird Q thing. I bet you they bring dude back. I bet you they bring him back, and then somehow watch. I bet you it's going to be Trelawney thing again, and somehow this time when the parent shows up, it's going to be like, "Look, I'm sorry this problem happened. I'm going to erase it from all your memories. So you don't have to worry about it." Something stupid like that, but something because how else do you explain something crazy like this? So you can only do improbability field so long.
I do want to address what Thomas was talking about with that comment.
What did Thomas say? I missed it.
You highlighted it just now.
Oh, my bad. The one I just said. Go for it.
Yeah. So about the Federation being a bunch of colonizers.
Yeah, it was just last week's contention.
Okay. So the Federation has hundreds of colonies. So yes, they are colonizers. That's nothing new. There have been
Ted the White Man.
Colony episode after colony episode after colony episode from the original series. Okay.
To the point that there's literally an entire terrorist organization that springs forth from the colonists that are dispossessed rather in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
The ones in the neutral zone.
And let's not forget the surprise lovemaking time gang.
That's right. Surprise.
What?
That's Phoenix. That's Phoenix's favorite line. I love it so much. Surprise fun time or whatever.
Oh, surprise!
Oh my god, something along those lines. It's hilarious.
No, his was something. My surprise lovemaking time was actually Joseph Petrick.
TNG season 2 could have been worse if we had Doctor. I do not know what a splint is instead of Pulaski.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like Pulaski, Pulaski comes across as a family practice physician who should have retired 10 years ago.
And someone's like, "Can you please come be the doctor on my starship?"
Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah, well,
fine, okay, whatever."
Right. And so,
Yeah,
and in
but they
fact,
made her such a bitch. Like with her whole thing, like the way she was with with Data half the time.
that was
It's
perfect. Though. It's about time you had some kind of philosophical difference between someone on TNG. And so at least she took the position that a machine is a machine. I mean, that
I don't think I don't think any woman has to be reminded that a machine is a machine.
any woman needs to be reminded of
I said what I said. Between Mrs. Know-It-All staring at me and you give me the same look from in front of me, it's
that.
hilarious.
Like, are you saying something about Mrs. Know-It-All there? I mean, that's like,
No,
well, it seems like you are.
they're hilarious.
You know, her reputation is now
Like the
ruined
Battlestar
forever.
Galactica doctor, like the BSG doctor.
Exactly. Well, he was a good doctor too. I liked him.
I liked
Because
him also.
he was definitely a wartime military doctor through and through. Nothing phased him at all.
Literally, he's with a cigarette walking around half the time. I'm like, right on, bro, right on.
And he's just like, because his job, he's not worried about, the sanitation of a cigarette. He's worried about, saving the person whose leg was blown off. So.
True story. And Karen's right. Pulaski did show great growth over the season regarding Data. True, very true.
But I think that I actually think she had too much growth because she started to warm up to him a little too much. I think that she never.
That's how loving he is. He's all
Now
cuddly.
Now you're sounding like a Metron.
That's right. That's like a Metron.
That's
Like
your
Star Trek. Yeah, Metron. Are you Metron sexual?
Metron sexual.
They made This is Thomas Potts goes. They made it as if the Federation takes over a planet, indigenous people, and forces them to believe what the Federation does. Excellent point.
Oh, you mean like? Hold on, Thomas. You mean like the entire plot of Star Trek 6?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Seriously, Star Trek 6. That wasn't Star Trek 6.
Oh, you don't remember that? Yeah. The Klingons were all. Remember? You don't remember when they were having dinner and the Klingons were like, "We're going to lose our sense of culture and we're going to be forced to assimilate into the Federation." Earlier, the Klingons are going to become the trash of the galaxy. It was all about assimilation.
Right.
And,
Colonel Worf. Is that true? Could that happen?
I object. Too bad they're guilty.
That's right. Literally, that's it. So I don't know. I don't know how that was all, but I feel like, yeah. See, and what's funny is I took the point of the movie to be there's more that puts us together than divides us. You know what I mean? It's like, really? We have more in common.
Well, but I do get that, like, the Klingons were technically kind of right in that the Federation does basically, like they say, oh, yeah, prime directive, blah, 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 non interference, blah, blah, blah. But then you better be, liberal utopia time when it comes to, being a member of the Federation.
ABJ, that was a minor subplot of 6.
Fair enough.
Little one.
It was a subplot, but even though it's not like the Federation being colonizers is nothing new, because they are. They're not evil colonizers, and that's the problem. We think colonizer is a dirty word because it's been used as such in recent years, but colonizer just means that you're planting colonies.
Sir, Penny provides a really great question. Michael, Metron versus Q, who would win?
Okay, so prior to this episode, I would have said Q. Because the Metrons, from what we've seen in Arena, we didn't see them actually do anything except they were able to hold the Enterprise and the Gorn ship with a tractor beam from extreme range.
Right.
They beamed Kirk and the Gorn captain to the planet where they fought, But other than that, they didn't really do much, right? Except to show that they are technologically superior to the Federation, right? In this, the fact that the Metron said, we may have to change your perspective on the Gorn, which explains why anybody that wants to complain now about Kirk not knowing what a Gorn was and stuff, is because the Metrons literally went in and messed with everybody's memory and every physical record from both the Gorn and the Federation sometime between this and Arena. And if that's the case, they've just went up to Organian level power. Because they were able to completely manipulate two cultures with no evidence whatsoever of their manipulation. And we're talking about years of history that wiped from everybody's memory. Even like people who died at the hands of the Gorn don't remember that. Or people that family members did, you know. Obviously, if you died, you wouldn't remember anything. But
Karen brings up an excellent point. Sounds like a Mandela effect.
well, like that's their power is the ultimate Mandela effect.
Hang on. Here's my favorite comment tonight. How convenient. That's my Cuban uncle. He would go, how convenient.
Oh, I was thinking about the church later going, how convenient.
Same idea, I'm sure. Except mine's a Puerto Rican uncle who's like, who can't quite say that word right. But yes, exactly right. How convenient for you, mister. Tell me about this idea you have.
Right. So, but if the Metrons can do that so easily, and because he says it very flippantly, like it's no big deal. And so, to me, that means Metron's now power level above and beyond Q, because Q is not demonstrated to be able to do anything quite that dramatic. If you think about what we've actually seen Q do.
Sure.
Have we ever seen Q manipulate universal reality, as in like wipe out specific files from every starship computer everywhere?
I mean, no, not that I think of.
And that's the thing. Like Q is not. I'm not saying Q is not powerful, but I do think that.
Could you imagine how TNG season 2 would have gone if they did with Worf what they did with Chekhov in Generations and made him the Doctor rather than creating Pulaski? That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. How if they just slip somebody else.
I am your doctor.
Right.
Now heal or die.
Hold on. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Good job. That was awesome, Indy Tiger. That's awesome.
Super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Barely an inconvenience. Yeah, for real.
Or actually, I was supposed to say, oh, no, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. And you have to say, oh, really?
I remember a crazy old man saying Trelane was more powerful than the Q. Wonder what he thinks now.
Well, now we know Trelane is a Q.
And Q is whatever. Q is older than it.
Yeah, Q is just Trelane. Well, the way we figured it actually at this point, Thomas, is that Q is literally Trelane's son. Because when Trelane and Lady Q touch fingers and
Lady Q.
Well, I don't know. What was her name? I think it was just female Q.
I'll go with Lady Q.
Yeah. So when Q and Lady Q touched fingers and a little spark of electricity, and that was their whole lovemaking routine, and so that's they had a child, and they said that was the first child conceived in millennia. Well, that means that Trelane could not be, at least chronologically, in the same place that he is physically.
Yeah, so, and I think that's absolutely the case. I think they live and raise their existence in out of time.
Right, and so because of that, Trelane was conceived in Voyager, and we actually saw young Trelane on Voyager, but then we see now, adolescent Trelane in Strange New Worlds and in the original series.
It's been theorized, but no, there's nothing on any Trek show that's shown Q erased or completely rewrote a species or history. Right. I would also argue that lore has a very interesting side quest story about Q and Q's development of potentially the mirror universe. That was an interesting watch. Good friend of the show, Lore Reloaded.
Yeah,
I don't know about good friend, but friend of the show for sure.
Acquaintance of the show.
That's for real. Very, very judgmental ex-boyfriend. Wow. I love me some lore, just like I love me.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Tom. The teenage Q in Voyager was the offspring of Q and Lady Q. And remember, Q left him on Voyager because he wanted a break. and so you want Janeway to babysit. But if you think about that, it's not like, I mean, because teenage Q wasn't actually conceived 6 months before he was a teenager, so they have to be jumping around in time.
Well, also, I'm pretty sure that I doubt they go through a normal like gestation period. Like, I'm sure once you start, you might start out as a little glowy ball, but they probably snap you into full grownhood quick. Then, hence why they act kind of childish, because they have
But
power,
yeah,
and wisdom.
yeah, I think though that so from as far as power level is concerned, I still put Q at the lower end of the godlike beings spectrum. Now
Really,
he's still in the godlike
I
being
think,
spectrum.
I think he's the only one that's ever like full on showed it on display and like changed timelines and everything with it. Like the
Q
leaping. I'm not
Q
even
has
talking
not done.
about.
What has Q done? Think about all the crazy stuff that he's done.
Sure.
But now he's created artificial life forms to play games with and stuff. Holodeck can do that, and you just turn the safeties off, and you got the same thing. You have Q teleporting people around a lot.
So
Transporters can do that.
why in Squire of Gothos does Trelane not know who Spock is? I think it's really simple. That's they met and they're meeting out of order.
Yeah, because Squire of Gothos in Trelane's biological existence is before Strange New Worlds. He
Yeah,
went back in time when in Strange New Worlds.
that's what I
So
think.
he already knew who Spock was in
Yeah,
Strange New
hence
Worlds.
hence why I believe he wants to not pick on him, but why he chooses targets him. I believe.
Yeah, yeah. What we were theorizing is that, remember, he was annoyed with Spock in Squire of Gothos, and so this would be a good way to get him back.
Yeah, agreed.
And then I think another way to get him back, and I do hope they do this, because I think it would be really cool, would be to have him have to basically make a choice that would make it so that Stan ends up with T'Pring instead of him.
Sure. Well, I do think he's coming back. I think we're going to get him because I don't think these writers are creative enough to not want to try that to
Yeah.
jump in that pool one more time.
Well, that's okay, because I think their take on Trelane worked for me, so I'm okay with them coming back. In fact,
He looked like an Andorian too, so Spock wouldn't recognize him.
well, that's true. He looked like all sorts of different things. So
There it is, literally, Check Reviewer. We just asked it as we were answering it.
yeah.
This is why
Well,
the
and
Spock
also remember,
isn't
Spock
TOS.
actually, yeah, because I forgot about that part of this. Thank you, Karen. Because Spock never saw Trelane in his natural form.
That's right. That's right.
He saw him as a Vulcan in the bar, and he saw him as an Andorian the rest of the time.
If they were to do this third time, I think it would be worthwhile because at this point the aha's gone. It would be worthwhile to make this the third time a Trelane who does now know Spock from both encounters and who's
Right.
choosing to come back to him at this stage.
Well, that's why I say, like, to have it be some critical point,
Right.
so that say T'Pring is about to come over, and Spock has decided, once and for all, he wants to fix
All
this
right.
relationship.
That's right.
So,
Oh my God! You know that's where they're going. That's where they're going with all this. He's going to eventually fix his relationship so that we still get the Amok time version of events.
right. But I'm just saying, but imagine if he's like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously now, and in fact, he's decided he's going to resign Starfleet so he can be with T'Pring and work at the Vulcan Science Academy, blah blah blah, right? So
Yes.
then Trelane comes in, gives Spock It's a Wonderful Life journey through
Oh, why are you writing
what
this episode?
what would happen if he marries T'Pring.
Oh, oh God.
And you could,
It gives us another opportunity to showcase Kirk show us the events of a mock time, but it's an actual wedding that really happens,
yeah,
like the real deal. And so you get to see this. So they get to do that same thing where they reinvent a scenario, and
Well, and
actually
I'm-
it ends up
yeah.
being the guy who wants to be with her that challenges Spock. That would be brilliant. That would be super.
like if Stan challenges Spock, but let's say Spock kills
Because it's the
Spock.
other way around. Yeah, it's the other way around. It's the events the other way around.
Right. But somehow, like, this ends up with some kind of tragedy happening in the future that Spock doesn't like.
Sure.
And so then Trelane says, well,
Phoenix, I hate you because I get this joke.
yeah,
Technically, he made himself look like a TOS Klingon captain dressed as a 1700 soldier.
yeah,
So for those of you playing at home, the actor who played Trelane in the original was also the actor who played
Kola.
Kolosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kolosh, the sausage with a
Yeah.
hot dog is in the middle.
No, the Dahar master from Trouble with Tribbles.
Yes.
Um,
No more reboot storylines.
hey, but you know what? This would actually be, I think, kind of cool. I think it would be a cool way to bring Trelane into it and to make Trelane basically Spock's Q.
See, now that I find, and okay, what now? You want to pull me in? Do a two-parter, hang on, have it be something earth-shattering, whatever, but then have Spock challenge him to something of sort of a contest, and at the end of it, if he loses, he has to erase his mind, his memory of any of them. So it's a way to have your cake and eat it too, and still reset things. It doesn't feel quite as. Part of my problem is not that they do this way. My problem is they do it like this and then go. And I'm like, stop winking at me. Just do your stupid show. I get it. I get what you're doing. You don't got to be like, remember this thing? I hate the member berries.
Well, honestly, I think the best. I don't, like.
First off, Stan, there are no fresh ideas. Let's be real. There really aren't. At the end of the day, there's going to be all kinds of crap, tons. And the issue you face is, so how do you approach it? That's why I said the best way to approach it is at least try to come up with an original way, in or out. But these things are tropes for a reason. It's because a lot of times sci-fi fans, it's tried and true. That era, like TOS had, dude, sci-fi writers aren't even sci-fi writers today. I tried at one of the last Barnes & Noble standing in my area. I tried opening up a site because I wanted to read something. I was like, you know what? Let me see what's out there. I went to the sci-fi section, picked up a few things. They read like these shows and movies today.
Right.
These stuff's being written by these young kid writers who
Days
got
of Isaac Asimov are gone.
Yeah. Like this kind of stuff is the Asimov and those kind of that foundation. You ain't never get another foundation. You know, that whole concept. No,
that's not true. The next season is coming soon on Apple TV.
No, I hear you. Annoying Critic says, nitpicking nerd, what's the point of the Metrons talking to Ortegas as if they're going to erase her memory? So that we know it was by the way, this is the one time I'm agreeing with you, so that we know that clearly the small universe, Metrons are here, and the Enterprise has always been the center of the universe.
So without being a complete dick, I'll say it this way, is that in universe, the reason is simple. The Metrons wanted to gauge Ortega's reaction to their questioning. That's what they do. And so the Metrons are uber intellectual. And so they're going to say, so, how does this make you feel? Why did you do that? That's really interesting. Okay, I'm going to erase your memory now. Bye. All right. So, but they did it for their own edification. They're just trying to learn more about how we're thinking. Plus, like you said, they through watching Ortegas and watching La'an, they knew that humans are not ready for contact with the Metrons yet. Same with the Gorn. The Gorn were so instinctively, angry with humans.
Phoenix brings up, there was a Strange New World episode that showed the cage happened exactly as it originally filmed in a recap, but still implied the current show is the same content.
That was actually an episode of Discovery.
Thank you. Yes, that was Discovery. And you're right, though. You are right. It is very, very shot for shot in a lot of places.
Well, no, they actually showed in the episode where they go to Talos 4. They actually they go previously on Star Trek instead of previously on Discovery, and they showed clips from the original Cage as the opening stinger.
I do remember that. You're right.
And that way to kind of refresh people that, okay, this is supposed to be a direct sequel to The Cage, everybody. Because that's why they
were really doing. They were trying hard back then.
Yeah, but remember they brought in I actually liked that episode.
I like the episode too. I do. Yeah. I do. I think the actress that got to play the young lady looked shockingly and strikingly like the original. Like I
think she's like related to her or something.
Oh, okay, because whatever they did a wonderful job with it.
But yeah, I think
Tiger, thank you. read Peter F. Hamilton's Commonwealth series and Taylor Anderson's Destroyer Man series. Okay, I'll check them out. Seriously, I'll check them out and let you guys know. Because again, I'm trying to. I used to love reading sci-fi all the time, and then I just sort of got out of it and got into fantasy books for a while, and those have started to become a bit stale now too. So I'm just playing with some stuff. But thank you, I appreciate that. Go on. I'm sorry, sir.
No, now they're all written by ChatGPT anyway. So
hold on, but gets more info into softcore porn for women. I hate you, dude.
Wait, what?
Dude, what is wrong with you? He's
What?
too much.
What? I don't get it.
Like I used to buy the new. He's talking about the softcore porn, but like the romance novels that are basically just softcore porn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Talking about. He's like, I used to do the new Danielle Steele novels for my mom's birthday because she seemed to like the author. When I was older, I actually read parts of them. Then you're like, Mom.
Oh yeah, my grandma had romance novels, and my grandma was like the most religious person in the family. And
Annoying critic says, I don't think you're supposed to tell the subjects they are an experiment. No, of course you are in this.
Well, you
world
can tell them after the experiment's over, and you're going to wipe their memory.
Everyone, I wanted you to know you were an experiment.
Now, you know what would have been great would be, and this would have happened if it was an episode of Futurama or something. Would be you go, we are the Metrons, and she'd be like, the who? And then all of a sudden you have two other Metrons appear behind her and like tackle her, and they're holding her down to the ground. She's like, what are you doing? What are you? And then one of them like grabs this thing and puts a big old tag on her ear, and it's like beeping because it's their radio tracker. And then they let her up, and she's like standing there kind of staggered. And then another Metron with a microphone goes, as you can see, the native human is a little out of sorts from our table.
Can you please read this comment from Annoying Critic?
Ortega's, if you want to eat me, you'll have to earn it.
That's what she said.
Yes, she did say that.
Sorry, I couldn't do it and say the joke at the same time. I can only do one or the other. I can't lift both things.
That was
Phoenix says, oh no, a serious point. I really thought the distant blinking light near the wormhole Ortegas and Gorney saw had a connection. Oh yeah, we've named the Gorn Gorney, by the way. Sigourney Gorn. Saw had a connection. Yeah, totally. Because it's a female Gorn. As it might be a puppet master behind the Gorn to be hinting at more later.
How can you call it Gorney? It's Gornita.
Nice. Gornita, totally. Tag and bagger, Stan says. That's right. That's right. Jump it, boom. Just that's it. You're like, what happened? What's going on? That'd be hilarious. God, bro.
And then you could have like,
what a turn of events that would be.
You have like an entire series of Metrons playing pranks on people and stuff.
The Metrons are Mixelplix.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that's awesome. Yes, Stan Lee. The light was the Metrons. Stan's like, no, really?
Yeah. You didn't figure that out.
Yeah, the lights are the Metrons. The minute everybody froze, I was just like, and then it turns out we are the Metrons, and I was like, bro, why? The minute because again, you can't. Here's my problem. You can't tell me that we didn't watch that someone didn't sit here and go, people are clearly going to be wanting to get caught up on the Gorn storyline, that one episode of TOS. They're gonna know this plot through and through. Let's keep dropping things at them from it. Stop. Just stop. Well, next week is the season finale. I know. How do you have this is the penultimate episode, and it's not, and there's nothing happening that's tangential to the season? Like what?
Unless Ortegas dies.
Which to me would be the only redeeming thing to happen in this season. Pave the way, give us Sulu.
Wow.
Racist. What do you think of this? What do you think of the plot that ideas that Kirk gets transferred sooner, or that even Kirk ends this series as its captain?
Oh, I think Kirk should take over the captaincy at the end of the series. But
like literally, the last frame is him sitting down in the captain's chair.
Something like that, yeah.
And then you just cut to a wide of the bridge, and everybody's in similar poses to where they would have been in TOS.
Well, like you could have Kirk say, I relieve you, and then Pike goes and cut to black right before he's going to say, "I stand relieved."
That would actually be kind of. That'd be gangster.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, but the
Campbell is crawling out of the computer.
What?
Gamble. See, you don't even remember the kid who was sacrificed, the nurse kid who was sacrificed on alien prison planet.
Oh, duh, yeah.
That's awesome. Stan goes, well, there's 1.5 seasons left. That's not true. There's 2 whole seasons. We're getting season 4 and 5 next.
I like Indy. We're the Metrons as far as you know.
Oh, full season 4 and a shortened season 5. That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
Isn't Sulu a botanist on the first episode we see him?
Not in the first episode. We see him later. He's actually, it's in the man trap that we see as a botanist. But in Where No Man Was Gone Before, he's a mathematician. Because, Asians are good at math.
Yeah. I feel like, well, people want to be like, that's a stereotype. You want to look at him and go, do you suck at math? Well, no. But that's the point.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever.
Well, it's like ask any black person if it's a stereotype that black people don't swim.
Or my favorite is like, it's like, you like fried chicken. And I'm like, look, first off, you're out of line. Second, yes, of course I do. Yeah. Because I'm a human American. That's why. Yeah. Not because any other reason.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yes, it's true. All black people love fried chicken. You know who else likes fried chicken? Everybody else.
Everybody else just
unless they're, you know what? And even though I could say except for vegetarians and vegans, but even that's not true. They love it. They just won't admit it.
So Stan, I actually had Mrs. Know-It-All watching. We were watching Tubi, watching Babylon 5, not Battlestar Galactica, but B5. And aside from the CG scenes that always took us both out of the moment because they're horrible CG, for the time it's brilliant. It was very cutting edge for the time. The story is so intense that you just roll past the bad spaceship stuff because you're so engrossed. Like J. Michael Straczynski was like, this show is not going to be carried on the weight of its special effects, so y'all be ready to act your butts off. And he really did a good job giving them a lot of great material, very toothy material to work through. So.
And Watermelon's the same thing, Sam.
Watermelons, every American, red-blooded American in summertime is eating watermelon. I don't care who you are.
Well, not communists.
My wife's talking about eating it with, what is it, salt or mustard? What's the thing that they eat? Watermelons with salt or mustard?
Mustard?
That's apparently a thing. And I'm like, get out. That's right.
Salt I could see, but mustard?
Yeah, I'm like, this is weird, guys, but whatever.
I mean, like salt, I think of like a salty margarita or something like that. I could definitely see salt and watermelon working together. But mustard makes no sense whatsoever.
Stanley said that's why I skipped it back in the day.
Hey, here's what you do. Ask your wife, she'll do this. Take some watermelon, right? Cut out like a disc-shaped piece of watermelon, and then put a hamburger patty on it, some cheese, some ketchup, and mustard, and then another piece of watermelon on top.
It's awesome. I've had the donut burger. The donut burger is amazing, and it's every bit as horrible for you as it sounds.
So it's a hamburger with donuts.
It's you take Krispy Kreme donuts, and that's the bun. It's a double cheeseburger with bacon in the middle. It's kind of amazing. Oh, Peter Jurassic as Lando Malari was one of the best. When I wake up in the morning, my hair looks like Malari's hair. It's straight up. It's all like
your hair. Out. You don't even have enough hair.
Trust me, I'm going to take a picture just for you, and we're not getting nowhere on social media. I literally tell her all the time I should wake up and be like, "Good morning, dear. I am Lando Malari." It's like with that, my hair looks ridiculous.
You know what? I would love to see a Babylon 5, remastered to where it had decent special effects.
Right? If there was ever anything that I'm like, dude, give this the George Lucas, we're going to redo the effects thing. Oh my God.
Because I really struggle with it. I do. Because I know the story's good, but I can't go back and rewatch it because the visual effects get in my way on that.
I'm going to go play. I want to grab a couple of screenshots and see if I can, upgrade it and then see if I can use AI to animate it just to see what it would look like as a quote unquote modern version of special visual effects. So I'm going to do that to one scene.
Trek reviewer, we can't stop there because remember, the crew at the time that Kirk takes over has to also include Gary Mitchell, and so who we have not yet seen. And Gary is supposedly Kirk's best buddy in the whole wide world. So we definitely need to get him in there somehow. Or we need to find out that Mitchell is actually transgender and will be Gary.
No.
Jakar.
No. Jakar was that's the guy who used to do the Romulans and all that stuff, remember?
Oh, yeah. You mean from
Jay
Babylon 5?
Aldrich, howdy. I'm just so proud
You
to
guys
be here.
keep switching franchises on me. Stop it.
Oh, dude, we're just all over the road. I've learned to just go with the punches. Like we haven't even talked about Alien Earth, which I thought was excellent this week.
Yeah. So
Alien Earth and Peacemaker, which Peacemaker was fine. It was good. It's what you expected. There's nothing crazy about this week. So you get to see Hardcore 2 in function and indeed
I have
action.
to say, Peacemaker this week was just the most pleasant experience it's been for the entire show.
Because you didn't watch it, you jerk. That's
Yeah,
why.
I forgot to watch it.
No, you're good. No, you're good. The laser firing is excessively awkward in B5. It is totally a little bit awkward. You're not wrong. That's awesome. I want to see Spock with the spore flower lady.
Actually, I do too. I want to see where that comes from, because this will be about the time.
And Stanley's right. This week's Alien episode was very much like a mini Alien movie. So,
Well,
and
that's exactly what the director said.
This episode, to me, of Alien Earth was exactly what I thought the whole series was going to be. I thought we were going to get protracted over the season. This crew having done something like that, and that the point of it was to keep from going to Earth. Like somehow something's happened, like they're fighting that whole thing, and that this finale would be, oh no, the ship crashes on Earth. Now what? And that would be the next season we discover. I didn't think we were getting the show we're getting right now, but this week's episode for me was what I thought we were always going to get.
So, because some of us did a little bit more homework than others, the guy that directed this episode of
You watched the podcast afterwards.
Not all of it, but yes. But the guy that directed and wrote and directed this episode is the same guy that wrote and directed episode 1. It's the showrunner. This was his baby, and he actually said that he said, I can't do an Alien series unless I throw an Alien movie in the middle of it.
Which, by the way, did you notice they at the very end of this episode, in the credits, because it was running, and as the credits were going, I was doing other stuff and left the credits running, and I look up right at the perfect time. They did a special credit to the entire production team of the original, and it says, without which the Maganaut would have no production design. And it literally lists the exact production, because they essentially stole everything from the original Nostromo set design, and I think it's brilliant that they gave them credit like that. I was like, good for you guys, man. That's awesome.
I did not see that, but I said, I did see that. So the similarities to the Alien movie was intentional, because he said, this is the Alien movie I wanted.
I'm sorry, I got to call back to before we get off Star Trek. Phoenix Gunn says, Tuvix Batal surprise to take out Salamander Gary Mitchell with a steel chair. Oh, it's great. I love it.
Actually, now, Tuvix Batal is actually a pasta dish.
That's right.
It's
an Italian pasta dish served at this jazz place over
it's called Captain Pike's.
That's right. Captain Pike's. That's awesome. Real quick, I don't want to get off too far. Annoying Critic says Peacemaker's meaningless action and multi-universe nonsense. I beg to differ. Yes, they have the multiverse, but I feel like they're doing the multiverse right. By that I mean, in this, the multiverse is a storytelling tool, not the function of the entire plot. Like they're not like unlike the multiverse saga in Marvel, which feels like everything must now serve that. This was like this is the MacGuffin to get us in and out of doors and to get us into some story beats. And I'm okay with it.
Here's the best thing about Peacemaker. You don't have to watch it because nobody cares, and it won't have anything to do with Superman 2 or the Batman 2 or anything else, except for maybe he'll have another cameo so that Peacemaker fans can go, it's Peacemaker!
Sure. I thought the show would be more of Alien Earth Hive, kind of distilled version of the storylines from the early 90s Dark Horse comics. Yeah, I could see where that could have. I didn't actually come into the Dark Horse comics until later, but I'm familiar with those 90s storylines that they existed. But otherwise, I'm not. I wasn't a
Never.
huge.
I've never read any of the '90s Dark Horse stuff, but
Yeah, I got into more of the Alien versus Predator, Alien Invasion, those
yeah.
kind of
The
things.
only thing I have is I have a copy of the first issue of Terminator Secondary Objectives.
Yeah, same. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, which I actually have. The only reason I have it is because it's autographed by the creator of the show of the series. But the which I like the idea where the Terminator basically they show, oh yeah, we sent a bunch of Terminators back to kill other people, and here's their story.
Yeah, totally. What do you think of Stanley says? I'm so bothered that they still use breakable glass containers for more dangerous biological specimens. I don't know that they know how dangerous these biological specimens are.
Okay, well, Stan. First of all, you have to understand that in the alien universe, scientists are dumbasses. Okay,
Who
and
learn next to nothing.
yeah, I mean, like, okay, so the first Alien was a bunch of truck drivers, and that was the smartest crew we ever had in an Alien movie.
True, because that
And
was all the ground floor people who'd be like, "What? Kill it!"
yeah, like remember Yaphet's character? I don't know the character's name, but everybody knows who Yaphet is. Uh, Big old dude. But Yaphet, as soon as they saw the face hugger, they're like, put him in the fridge, put him in the fridge,
Yeah, bro.
Which is exactly what someone would say. Now, the nice thing is that this one answers why that wouldn't work. Which I did think
Sure.
was, and that might be why they didn't freeze him.
And they put them on high shelves.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, Darren, you must have missed our glowing review of the last. It's so glowing. Oh my gosh, you got to go back and watch it. No, I'm kidding. I was not a big fan of this week's episode myself, and I said as much.
I defended it somewhat, but
it's the paragon of this season, and he thinks it's the greatest thing that Strange New World's ever done. Go figure. Anyways, do with that information what you will. Not that I'm stoking any fires.
Yeah. What were you lying? All right.
That's right.
So, but yeah, what were we talking about just now?
Stanley says, well, someone pointed out you can't really find the smartest people to sign up for 65-year mission where all your family will be dead when you get home. Or conversely, you can, and it's just all the worst possible human beings ever.
Right.
Did anybody else get onto? I only understood. I'm today years old when I realized the shares are shares of the company because how much it'll be worth to you by the time you get back in 65 years.
Right.
So it's like the equivalent of like we're time traveling you a fortune. When you come back, yeah, everyone's going to be dead. You're going to be 5 times over multi-quintillionaire. Like you won't care.
Right.
You can go buy a new family.
Because you'll have full shares of Weyland-Yutani and all that. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like,
no, I like that. I like the way that works. And notice that like even though the corporate entities have taken over the world, they're not even there. They're not trying to like send the police and thugs to get you. They just say, yeah, you'll forfeit your shares. And it's like, whoa, just kidding around.
And you're immediate because they know what that. It's like now that means you are broke, sir.
Yeah.
Welcome. Either way, you're still going to be an indentured servant. Let's go.
Yeah. So I like that. I like this episode of. I think this is the best episode of the show so far.
I do too. Biff Industries, he says.
Yeah. But I know that So just so you guys know, Mrs. Know-It-All had to change Mr. Know-It-All's underwear several times through this episode.
So I am deathly afraid of spiders, like irrationally so, and I get that. Like right now, I can talk about it pretty good, but like outside of our porch, because we turn the light on at night for the dog and we let the dog out. At night, they all start to grow because the lights there are attracting bugs, so they want to eat. I cannot stand. My family calls it saving my life. Like I would burn the house down if I had any choice when it comes to spiders. So, anyways, yeah, it was harsh getting through it. And then I hate eye trauma. Not only was this bad for that, I would argue that the eye was doing the trauma at the same time. It's not good.
Right. While ripping out other eyes.
Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah. Which, by the way, who knew that Alien Earth was going to give us some of the coolest aliens that aren't xenomorphs?
Right.
Because Cyclops creature is amazing.
Honestly, I think
so much.
This series as a whole is at its best when we're not talking about xenomorphs.
Right? Like you just kind of go, it's in the alien universe, whatever, and move on.
Yeah,
Because there's
but
so
like
much
I
more.
want to learn more about the corporate lifestyle.
Right.
I want to learn more about these
Yes.
different androids and the philosophical questions involved.
Yes.
And of course, I want to watch you live with one of those eyeballs loose in your apartment.
I hate you so much, bro. I can't even. You don't even know, dude. Literally, you have no idea how terrifying it would be at
You
this
would
point.
hear him scream like a little girl.
What's the point of horror movies? Annoying critic asks. I believe it's to get you excited, get your blood pumping. I don't know.
It's a
You can the safety of danger. I don't if that makes sense.
a well-made horror movie. Honestly, there is a great formula to making a good horror movie. Is that number one? You have to establish some characters, one of which you need to graft onto, that you need to bond with, as from a subliminal perspective. That you like, oh, I like this person, or I want to root for